without further ado, I want to welcome to the air our guest at this time. He is Doug the Thug. Doug, how are you doing?
All right, brother. How you doing?
Doing great, man. You know, I got to ask you, you know, you've put out this challenge on YouTube about, you know, how you're going to end the feud on the 29th at the NWWA show with C.W. Bergstrom. Why hasn't this feud ended 15 years ago? I got to ask.
Well, because I got transferred to Nashville, where me and Bart Sauer held the tag team champions there, and then from there I went to Puerto Rico, and then finally I got a phone call up here, and I had to get on a plane from New Mexico and get back up here, and I finally hunted him down, and I'm glad that the NWWA is going to book me in the match.
What can fans expect out of this match?
Well, they better get ready to get up on seats and up and down on their seats. It's going to be nail-biting.
Now, I got to ask you, this is just a generic question we throw out to almost all of our guests. Growing up, were you a professional wrestling fan? If so, who'd you look up to?
Yes, I was, man. Me and my dad, God rest his soul, my grandpa, God rest his soul, we watched it all the time. I always looked up to Flair, Ric Flair.
It's a good person to look up to, definitely a role model for a lot of kids of, you know, the 80s era. Was professional wrestling your first career choice? If not, what was?
Actually, when I got out of high school, I started training, and I just put that first, you know. Then after that, I got side jobs and stuff to do what I have to do, you know.
Now, did you ever think that, you know, 15 years later you'd still be in the business when you first started, or did you think it was just going to be a quick in and out?
I figured I would. I did some wrong decisions and flunked a few things, and but yeah, I knew I'd be in the business this long. I had a bunch of injuries, so yeah, I knew I would. Business is it's me. I eat and sleep and breathe it.
Now, speaking of injuries, you know, a lot of professional wrestlers have a lot of horror stories from their professional wrestling training before they even got their in-ring debut. What was your professional training like, and who do you feel taught you the most during your training?
Mike George, he trained me. I bought my gym equipment off of him when I first started out in the business. He trained me, and he's been around for a long time. It was tough at first, but, you know, like he said, I was a natural. So, like he said, as long as you get a promo down, as long as you can get in there and know what the finish is and don't forget it, you just be all right.
Now, my co-host Andrew Carlick has a couple questions. Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, Doug, I was curious, how did you get your start there in the Pacific Northwest?
Me and Bart Sauer sent a tape up here to Roddy and Lenny, the grappler. Roddy Piper and Lenny the grappler, and they wanted to come up, and I remember the first night we was there at the sports arena, and they said, Lenny and them said, you better get a room, because you're going to be up here, booked. So, that's how I did that.
Okay, and what were your initial thoughts of the territory when you first got there?
I thought about it is I knew that it was going to go to hell in a handbasket, actually, because they was all falling out and stuff. But all the back in the day, all the old time, everybody that's been in this business has went to Portland Wrestling. Everybody. I remember Ric Flair telling Don Owens one night that he couldn't draw what Don wanted him to, what Don was going to give him. He said, just give me $50 like everybody else. And that's respect right there. And Sandy Barr, I'm telling you what, shoot, man, I could ask him for everything, you know what? I could ask him for everything. He's a good man. He's a good man. He still is. You know, he's in heaven. But anyway, he always treated the boys good.
Okay, now what led to your departure from the Northwest Territory?
I got booked in USWA in Nashville with Jerry Jarrett. And that's when Bart Bart Starr come down there, and they put the straps on us and stuff. And after that, he come back here. We did the good angles and stuff. He come back here, and then I went to Puerto Rico. They put the straps on us, tagged with Ron Starr.
Now, I got to ask you, you, along with many others, got to work in the fabulous Sportatorium for World Class Championship Wrestling. What are your memories of working for that company?
Oh, man. It's a hard ring to bump in, I know that. And it's the memories in that, too. The crow's nest was upstairs and stuff, and God rest Axo. He ran that thing.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're actually going to be taking part in our Skandar Akbar tribute, which will be taking place next week, so I don't want to get too far into that.
Okay.
My next question for you is, what were your thoughts on Von Erichs, being that they were pretty much the promoters of WCCW?
Well, their dad mainly promoted it. They had their demons just like everybody else does, and they knew the business. They were raised in it. It's just sad that most of them's gone already,
Mm-hmm. I would agree with you. A lot of people have watched the WCCW documentary WWE put out. I want to ask you, have you had the chance to check out the documentary, and if so, would you agree with some of the statements made about that promotion?
No, I have not.
Okay. What was your initial thought when you heard that they were going to demolish the Sportatorium?
Well, all the members down there. I can remember going down there, driving down there in the mornings when we did TV down there. It'd be so cold because it didn't have a heat in there that, you'd be freezing to death. Yeah, but heck, you didn't sweat, so that was cool.
Now, one of our listeners actually sent in the question, whose idea was the Pretty Boy Doug Summers character, and did you instantly like it, or were you initially against the character?
Well, for one thing, it was Pretty Boy Doug Masters.
That's what I meant, sorry.
Okay, and, it kind of got over. I get tired of bleaching my hair all the time, though. But I got to get heat on it.
Oh, yeah, I would agree. Now, Andrew has a couple questions, so Andrew, go ahead.
Who's your favorite person to work with in WCCW? And alternatively, who are some of your least favorite people to work with?
WCCW? Shoot, that's hard to answer. There's a lot of good workers there. Jimmy Jack Funk was good. He's the son of Sandy Barr. And, it was just hard to do. I worked the Undertaker and stuff there. Before he got the Undertaker, he was a pain maker. And, but like I said, that's just hard to really give somebody an answer that there's so much talent, it's good,
And was there anybody that, when you saw that you were wrestling them, you're thinking to yourself, man, this is going to be a tough night?
Yeah, Cactus Jack.
A lot of people say
we
that
did
about
some good hardcore matches, yeah.
Okay, now after World Class, you went to Puerto Rico to work for the WWC. What were your memories of working down there in Puerto Rico?
Oh, man, it was... I know one thing, it was hot. It stayed hot all the time. Nice, hot, and 10 feet arenas. And Dick Murdoch got arrested, so brought me in there. He was booking and brought me in there out of Nashville. And he put me over, and they put the straps on me and Ron Starr. And Rambo Ron Starr, what he went by, and which was kind of good because he'd been in the business longer than I have. I learned a lot from him. So, yeah, it was good. It's good learning territory.
Ric Flair used to tell stories about how there was a lot of times where he was feared that he wouldn't get out of the arena with his life. Did you ever experience anything like that?
Who's that now?
I said Ric Flair used to tell stories that he'd go to Puerto Rico and fear that he wouldn't even get out of the arena alive. Did you ever experience anything like that?
I tell you, one night I had a rental car. Me and Dick Murdoch and Randy Rose rented. We had so much heat in there while we was in the ring. They turned it over and set it on fire. That's dangerous down there. You go watch it. But if you're nice to the people, they respect you, you know.
Right. What were your thoughts of working for Carlos Colon down there in Puerto Rico?
Carlos, I loved it. Got paid all the time. He put me over. If I needed to leave and come home for something, he always bought my ticket, you know, and I always had a motel to stay in. And, I mean, yeah, that's what I think. Anybody starting out in this business, they need to go down there and work. 6 days a week. It's hot. Twice on Sundays. Still, you get in shape and you work people. They bring Valentine in and all that stuff on the weekends. But, yeah, Carlos was a good man.
Okay, now, what was the reason for the name change of yours from Pretty Boy Doug Masters to Doug the Thug?
Well, I just figured that I needed a new gimmick. This is me. Doug the Thug's me. So I figured there's been a bunch of boys that's been blonde-haired and stuff, you know. Plus, I didn't want to do Flair's gimmick anymore anyway. So, that's it.
Okay. Do you have a rib or a road story that you can share with our listeners?
A rib?
Yeah, like a rib or a road story?
Road story. Oh, I remember in Nashville, we used to drive 2 hours one way just to go to a house show. That was a long road trip. Puerto Rico, we had to drive, it was back-to-back bumper, even on the highways. It's 100 miles long and 35 miles wide, the island is. And it took forever. And, yeah, man, there was a good rib, man. We took Tony Falk. He's a good guy. Sandman did this. Tony Falk, and it was wintertime, and we took his shoes from him and we hid them for 2 days. Yeah.
Damn, that's insane. Now, I just have one question real quick, Andrew. I got to ask you, since we're putting over, the Northwest, a lot of things have changed with you. What is the most dramatic change that you would say has happened since the last time you were here?
Psychology. I've learned in business more than I ever thought. I got injuries, but yeah, I've learned it, and I wish the people out there on this radio here would know that, they always ask, they know how much the business takes on your body. It's no. They don't know. And I would say do that.
Mm-hmm. Now, one question, I got one last question. I'm going to kick it over to Andrew for his final question. And my last question for you is, what would be the best piece of advice you could give somebody that was either wanting to break into the business or maybe has had a rough period in their life and started out in the business and just left because of all the politics?
Keep your day job. No, really. If you love it, it's in your blood. Find a school that's going to train you, that whoever's training you has been somewhere. That way they can get booked. That way they're not taking your money. And people in old-timers been down the road and all this and that. And, of course, you got to put your family first, but, sometimes that takes care of your family, So, yeah, that's what I think about that.
Okay, now past this weekend, obviously you're working this big show, which we'll talk more about. But what does the future hold for Doug the Thug?
Doug the Thug, okay, the future holds for me is I'm getting over injuries and stuff. I got to fly back home in a couple of weeks and get an MRI done and stuff, but I'll be back. And Doug the Thug, I got a good gimmick going. Doug the Thug, everybody should come out here and watch me. They need to.
Well, Doug, I want to thank you for coming on and joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you on the broadcast, and I look forward to having you on the Skandar Akbar Tribute Show.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on.